Hey, you're listening to Marketing Out Loud, a daily podcast where I share advice, stories, and insights to help you build a thriving consulting or professional services practice. To subscribe to the show, head over to marketingoutloud.fm. Some more thoughts today on my recent interview with David C. Baker on Forecast. David said something on the interview that really struck me. Well, he said a number of things that struck me, but one thing in particular I wanted to share with you today. We were talking about the attitude or the posture that experts need to have. And I forget the specific context. I tried looking it up, but I couldn't find the exact line. But it was something about having integrity as an expert and not selling yourself short or devaluing your expertise for anyone in any way. By doing things like, doing work outside of your expertise or undercharging for your work or, submitting to a client's demands that affect the integrity of your work or your own integrity. And we were talking about this, and David said something to the tune of, I'd rather you drive an Uber. Okay, he said, I'd rather you drive an Uber. And I was kind of taken aback by that line. I wasn't quite sure initially what he meant by that, but then slowly it started to dawn upon me. What David was saying was, look, this expertise you have, this craft that you've worked so hard at, this business or this profession, it's not a joke. It's not something that you should take lightly. It's something of tremendous value and tremendous worth if you know how to use it best. And that really begins with you. You have to take your expertise seriously if you want your clients to take your expertise seriously. And part of that is not doing things that are not aligned with your expertise and your positioning. Not doing things that are below your expertise or your positioning, and not letting clients treat you in anything or any way that's not becoming of a real, true expert, because that's what you are. And if that means that you need to drive an Uber to pay the bills, then you drive an Uber. Because there's no shame in driving an Uber. None whatsoever. It's good, honest work. But there is shame in selling yourself short and shortchanging your expertise and devaluing your positioning, right? Because nobody needs to know that you drive an Uber. You're not going to post that as a case study on your website. At least you probably shouldn't. But if you start doing work that's outside of your expertise and outside of your positioning, and then word starts to spread, then you'll start to become known for work that you really don't want to be known for. And that's a tricky thing to recover from. So I think the Uber reference was just an example, but the broader point here is that if you need to do something to generate cash, then that's fine, do it. But don't do something that devalues your expertise and your positioning in the process. Another example that comes to mind, I found in my hiring on Upwork. Upwork is a freelance marketplace. I found a number of very, very talented people who have, what looks like thriving, successful businesses outside of Upwork, who do work by the hour on Upwork. And the rates are high. The rates are, $50, $60, maybe $100 an hour and above. But they do a little bit of that work on Upwork because, I don't know, I didn't ask them, but presumably it pads their cash flow. So when they're in between clients, and a lot of these folks who I've talked to, they may charge $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 retainers to their clients outside of Upwork. But when they're in between clients or they need to just kind of cover some cash flow gaps, they go to Upwork, they earn a reasonable hourly rate. And you know what? It doesn't really affect their positioning because only the people who are on Upwork actually know that they're there. Nobody else needs to know. Nobody gets hurt. And they maintain their premium brand positioning and their status as an expert otherwise. So that's just an example. But the broader point is, don't do work that devalues your expertise and devalues your positioning. And if you're going to do it where nobody's looking. I mean, that's my interpretation of what David meant by that line, I'd rather you drive an Uber. I think he'd probably be able to give a better explanation of it, but that's what I got out of it. That's the lesson that I learned. And I think that's what we can all take away. If you're going to do something like that to generate cash, that's fine. Everyone's got to do it from time to time, but do it outside of the market's eye so you can maintain your integrity as an expert, because that integrity, that expertise status is a long-term asset that you just don't want to mess with. Hey, thanks for listening. Do me a favor. If you like what you hear, go on iTunes and leave us a rating and a review because it helps more people discover the show. Thanks so much.